Alright then, why don't you play us a C chord followed by an A minor 7th, a D minor 7th, and then a G7. Sure thing! I forgot how.
By and large, K-On! Is a very light and fluffy show. I believe it falls under the very technical genre of cute girls doing cute things. It's a digestible slice of life anime, something I find very pleasant to watch. The cast is friendly and happy-go-lucky. The crazy antics they get up to can't possibly fail to lift your spirits. So it's quite a surprise when things start to slowly turn dark and depressing in the second season. Don't get me wrong, it's not a complete 180 gotcha. The tone is still consistent, just with some underlying sadness. But before I get into that, I should actually explain what K-On! Is. As stated before, K-On! Is a slice-of-life anime. It follows a group of high school girls as they navigate the prime of their lives. Mostly, that means goofing off in their light music club room. The main cast we follow are Mugi, Ritsu, Mio, and the protagonist, Yui. Since these four girls are in a band together, you might expect them to spend a lot of time practicing their instruments, preparing for shows, and improving their skills. In reality, they spend the majority of their after-school club time drinking tea and eating sweets. The anime is episodic, so there isn't much of a plot to follow. That being said, I'm still going to spoil moments throughout. So if you want to watch K-On! Completely blind, go ahead and bounce out here. But before you go, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave me a like and a subscribe. Let's begin by exploring these characters' personalities and quirks. Starting with the group's enabler and keyboard player, Mugi. I say enabler because she is the one to supply the Lights Music Club with all their after-school tea and snacks. She's rich, and is apparently given oodles of sweets in her home life. So much that she couldn't possibly eat them all herself, so she shares them with the club. Unlike rich people in real life, Mugi is a very generous and humble person. She's also incredibly laid back, the true neutral of the roster. No matter what the rest of the group decides to do, whether it's practicing or goofing off, Mugi is always just happy to be there.
You mean you're gonna go with them? We may as well enjoy ourselves a little while we're here, right?
Next up, the drummer, Ritsu. It's pretty cliche, but Ritsu is the loud one. She's a bit of a slacker and a bit of a prankster. She's also the Lights Music Club president, which is, quite frankly, a terrible decision.
Meeting sure aren't as worthwhile without you here.
That hasn't seemed to affect your appetite.
No, Mio, those two things have absolutely nothing to do with each other.
She's incapable of doing anything important for the club. Her best friend Mio would be a much better president. In fact, out of the four of them, Mio is really the only one with a strong head on her shoulders.
It's great that we're together, but we all need to start thinking about our future plans.
She's dedicated to practicing, even though the rest of the club do everything they can to derail her focus. In a lot of ways, Mio's the rock the club needs. It's fitting, then, that her instrument is the bass guitar. She's not unshakable, though. Mio is actually a big-time scaredy cat, kind of afraid of everything. Even the smallest scares leave her shaking in a corner. Her fear even extends into stage fright territory, which is a bit inconvenient. And finally, the first of the show's two protagonists, Yui. She is the definition of an airhead. I'm pretty sure she'd lose an IQ test to a brick wall. Yui is someone who is just happy to be alive. She's so contagiously joyful.
Even among terrapins, this one here is a total babe. It's so cute, I want to stick peanuts in its nose.
Before joining the Light Music Club, her hobbies included eating, lying on the floor. That's it. It's insane, but apparently that was enough for her to be happy. Her shocking lack of interests make it hard for her to choose which club to join at the beginning of her high school career. After some deliberation, surprise surprise, we know what the show is about, Yui joins the Light Music Club, where she meets Mugi, Ritsu, and Mio. From this point on, their light-hearted antics ensue. I don't need to go over every single bit of hijinks the Light Music Club gets up to. I'll just cover a few examples. That way we can all understand what kind of show this is. Shortly after joining, Yui realizes she needs to figure out what kind of instrument to play and learn how to play it. She decides to pick the guitar, which means she has to go out and buy one. Episode 2 follows the club going to a music shop to try and find a suitable guitar for Yui. The one she decides to buy is expensive, heavy, and impractical. But she loves it because it's cute.
So for girls, one with a slender neck would be...
This guitar here is cute!
She never listens!
Of course, she would choose her instrument based purely on looks. That's just the kind of person she is. Just because Yui has a guitar, that doesn't mean she can play it yet. She's actually pretty terrible. Honestly, all of the members could use some practice. So Mugi hooks them up with a beach resort her family owns so they can all have a training camp together. Even though they're all there to practice, Ritsu and Yui insist on goofing around on the beach. They have such a weak concept of responsibility. Yui is supposed to be the vocalist for the band, but the light bulb in her head is dimmer than a firefly. She can't sing and play her instrument at the same time. She's just incapable of doing both. That's okay though, because their advisor, Miss Yamanaka, is going to give Yui special attention before their first show. Unfortunately, they go way too overboard practicing, and Yui blows out her voice right before the big show.
I made her practice too much!
I threw my voice.
Knock off the cutesy act!
With no other options, the only member who can sing is Mio. Remember how I said she has some stage fright? Yeah, this is gonna be really hard for her. Even though Mio is a cowardly lion, she's able to sing beautifully. The first concert is actually a banger. Yui even tries her best to sing support with her raspy-ass voice. Not long after this, their first year comes to a close. It's only been 8-ish episodes for us, but it's already been an entire year for the Light Music Club. With a new year comes a new opportunity to recruit freshmen for their club. This is where we're finally introduced to the 5th cast member and soon-to-be 2nd protagonist, Azusa. Azusa is another guitar player, and she's a year below the others. Despite her younger age, she is much more mature than most of the rest of the Light Music Club. Like Mio, she's serious about practicing and improving her skills. Comes as a little bit of a shock when she finds out how silly everyone in the club really is. Nobody can resist Yui's brain rot for long.
I knew we should have practiced instead of playing around out here.
But you played more than anybody, Azusa. You're all sunburned.
For the remainder of Season 1 and most of Season 2, we watch this expanded club go on similar goofy escapades. Everything is lighthearted and fun. There's more training camps at the beach, more failed attempts to practice, and more after-school tea time. However, even as early as episode 1 of Season 2, a slight tinge of discomfort gets placed into our minds.
If we don't get new members, Azunyan's gonna be the only one left in the club next year.
This idea is brought up and kind of ignored for a while. After all, this is a funny, silly, happy show about a high school music club. Most of the runtime is dedicated to showing us happy moments. In Season 1, and even now, Yui is the perfect protagonist to accompany the group's consequence-free escapades. Even a mundane trip to a department store becomes an exciting adventure when Yui is as happy as she is to just be around anything that moves.
Check out all the screws!
You're spazzing out too?
These are all screws! It's so pretty!
And sometimes even things that don't move, apparently. It would be easy for K-On! To stay with this formula till the end of time. It's hard to not feel happy when these 5 girls are having so much fun just being alive. However, K-On! Doesn't take the easy way out by presenting us with a stagnant setup until the end of time. K-On! Takes steps to elevate itself into being a significantly more impactful show. It's subtle, but as Season 2 marches on, Azusa gets more and more screen time. This is partly because the other 4 girls are separated from Azusa by their age. They're all in a senior class together, except for Azusa. They all go on school trips together, except for Azusa. But just because there's episodes-long arcs without the youngest member of this band, K-On! Never forgets about her. For every scene featuring just the seniors, there's a scene later on where Azusa is the sole focus. Azusa receiving more attention coincides with Yui receiving less attention. We stop seeing things so closely from her perspective. Rather than being the point of view character for scenes, she's just another player in the scene itself. Yui shares the real estate equally with her fellow seniors. Azusa's more serious demeanor is a much better fit for the more serious tone of the second half of this story. Letting a serious character like Azusa take center stage in the back half of the show makes everything feel so sincere.
My life is definitely more fun when I'm with these guys.
No, we can't!
This shift alone leads us to understand that Azusa is the new main character. But K-On! Goes one step further in cementing her role as our new emotional core. The show begins telling a serialized whirlwind of a conflict, and it places Azusa as its epicenter.
Now you can just kick back and relax until graduation. You've earned it.
Graduation, huh?
The time we spend with her in Season 2 takes on an air of seriousness. It's slow, but an inevitability begins to make itself known to her and to us.
I almost forgot. After this year is done, I'm going to be all alone.
This is a wonderful backdrop to the rest of the show. It adds some much welcome drama into this otherwise joyful mix. With every pot of tea, with every gratuitous cake, with every afternoon spent goofing off in the club room, we are aware, in the back of our minds, that this won't last forever. Mugi, Ritsu, Mio, and Yui are seniors. This is their last year in high school. But it's not Azusa's last year. When the other 4 graduate, she'll still be here. Alone.
It hit me. They're really gonna graduate. They really are gonna leave. All of them.
We love these characters. We love seeing them interact with each other. From a meta perspective, we know that once graduation comes to an end, the show will also come to an end. This makes it so easy and natural to put ourselves in Azusa's shoes. We're in the same boat as her. Naturally, she's the best person to play the protagonist under these circumstances. She has so much in common with us and how we're feeling. We can feel her devastation at the idea of everything coming to an end. Because we feel it too. Even though we know that graduation is a good thing and it's what's best for everyone, it doesn't change the fact that none of us are ready to say goodbye.
Please don't graduate.
K-On! Is a wonderful anime all around. The cuteness of the first half really set me up to be blindsided by the subtle sadness of the second, but I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I think it's really cool how this show is able to transition from one protagonist to another halfway through. and how that transition also coincided with the introduction of a more serious story element. I love laughing, but I also love serious drama. K-On! Gave me both, and for that, this anime is one of my favorites. But what do you think about it? Do you even agree with my take on how K-On! Changes protagonists halfway through? Do you know of any other anime that does this kind of thing better? I'd love to know about them, so please leave me a comment. If you liked this video, I'm sure you'll like my other anime-related videos too. There should be an entire playlist for you to check out, so please give them a try. Thank you so much for just watching this video though. Have a wonderful day, everyone.